Hi, this is Dan Heisman, Philly tutor for Chess FM. And this is the Improve Your Chess video series for ICC members. In today's game, we're going to look at a slow chess game, but it's probably over the board. It wasn't time-stamped, so I don't have the time-stamping on it, but let's get right to it. White plays e4, black plays e6 French, white plays d4, black plays d5, and now, of course, White's four main choices are classical knight c3, Tarish knight d2, exchange e takes d5, and advance e5. Now, I tell my students, if you don't know any of these and you're trying to learn one, probably the best two for learning are knight c3 and knight d2. E5 is a really good move. Grandmasters play it, but it's hard to play for white if you don't know it. And a lot of my students think, oh, this is the French, you're supposed to play e5, which is only partially true. And they play e5 here, and they get into all kinds of trouble with their d-pawn, and black gets a great game. So if you don't know what you're doing, I suggest to avoid e5. Similarly, if you want to play the exchange variation, you have something in mind, like you like e takes d5, c4 variation, or you just like the regular exchange variation, that's fine, as long as you know it and you want to do it. But if you're just trying to learn something, that's probably the dullest of the three lines because it creates a symmetric open e-file where it's easy to trade off the rooks and get into kind of a symmetric pawn endgame position, which is easily drawn. So you don't generally learn as much when you play that kind of way. Again, nothing wrong with those moves. It's just that if you're trying to learn something, that might not be the best way to do it. So here, white plays e takes d5. Again, nothing wrong with that. You don't see this a lot at the grandmaster level, but, white still has that symmetrical extra move advantage. And now white plays knight f3. The other big move there is bishop d3, and as I mentioned earlier, c4 is also possible. Black plays bishop d6. This is a very good move. The bishop belongs in that square. And here black has the flexibility of castling on either side, as we shall see. So white plays h3. That's not a good move. It's not terrible, of course. Terrible moves are the ones that get you checkmated or lose your queen or something. But he's taking away bishop g4, the possibility of a pin, but of course white's not even castled there, so white could just play h3 after bishop g4. And secondly, he's giving black a secondary good move, which is bishop f5. And if you're taking away one good move with your entire tempo to play h3, and your opponent has a perfectly other good place to put the piece, then really you're wasting your tempo while they're going to be able to use theirs anyway. If bishop to g4 was the only good move for the bishop, then playing h3 might make a lot of sense. But playing h3 to prevent bishop g4 is not as good as playing h3 after they play bishop g4. So here, if black wants, he could play bishop f5 right away, or he could wait and develop a knight. And he plays bishop f5. And as we just said, that move is logical because it's going to be the only good place for the bishop. All right, so it's white's turn, and he should challenge the bishop with bishop to d3, since his bishop's doing nothing and black has a good bishop. And he correctly does that, and now black has a choice. He could guard with queen d7, he could take with bishop takes d3, or he could play bishop back to g6. I'm sure the computer's going to say one or the other is slightly better, but these are all reasonable moves. Black decides to trade. This helps white develop with queen takes d3, but it's not a big deal. White plays queen takes d3, and now when your opponent plays a move like that, you always have to ask yourself, what are all the things that move does? Well, one thing it clearly does is recapture the bishop, so he had to do something like that. But now you have to watch out, because maybe he has queen to b5 check, attacking the d-pawn, the b-pawn, and the king, and maybe winning that b-pawn. So, just because he had to recapture doesn't mean he doesn't have any threats. So here black should do something about that. And he does. He plays knight c6. So the queen b5 is not as much of a threat. So for instance here, suppose white plays queen b5 now, hitting those two loose pawns. And suppose black plays a strange move like rook b8. That's probably not the best move. Well, he's